Well, hello comrades and welcome back to the Ushanka Show. A couple days ago I was watching the news and I saw the news about Whole Foods getting into trouble for mislabeling their groceries. Exactly what it said, that Whole Foods in New York routinely overstated the weight of their pre-packaged products. And the worst case of mislabeling was about 89% upcharge. What they're talking about is they would pre-package, for example, chicken and claim that you have 2 pounds of chicken in this package, and in reality you had about 1.5 pounds or maybe 1 pound, and that way you pay double the price for the chicken. And this news brought a lot of memories from my life back in Soviet Union, because that was the famous way of people in retail and groceries to earn extra money, is by, exactly like in Whole Foods, overcharging and routinely overstate the weight of the groceries they were selling. And you know, the sad part that Whole Foods is quite expensive store, right? There is the reason why a lot of people call it the whole paycheck foods. And being expensive and on the top of it charging customers more than the actual weight is, it's pretty kind of sad thing. You see, in Soviet Union it was a good business to be in a grocery retail, because even if they pay you not a lot of money, you can make a lot of money by routinely overstating the weight. So what people were doing in Soviet Union at the grocery stores to routinely overstate the weight? Well, we used scales, and it's quite still a lot of these mechanical scales like you see right here on the picture. So by slightly altering one side, for example, you can put a couple of pieces of carton board under one's leg and tilted slightly the scales. Another popular way was to place a couple of magnets right under the metal surface where you put your items on. That way you make whatever grams you want to cheat, because everything is in kilograms and grams. That magnet will change the weight, so like you get extra 50 grams of air that you sell, and then you just alter the scale arrow to point it again at the 0. Another way was these weights they've been using for counterweight, like at this picture. They would drill the holes in the bottom and fill with like a Play-Doh instead of the metal, making scales lighter, and that way you put the 2 kilogram weight, but in reality you have only 1.5 kilogram of that weight. And of course, one of the basic ways to cheat the customer, if you were too lazy to do high-tech cheating, is just you quietly put your finger on the opposite scale to make that piece of cheese that you sell to customer just a little bit heavier. And one of my subscribers sent me a story that he knew the guy who actually earned enough money to buy an apartment back in Moscow, working as the meat delivery guy. And what happened, he noticed that he constantly was short several of kilos of meat every time that he will come to the warehouse. And after he was done with deliveries, he will also be shy, he will be short several kilos. And then he noticed that the lady who was weighing the meat prior to loading him up was, I guess there was a big floor scale. She was stepping on the scale with her foot, adding a couple of kilos to him, and that way saving a couple of kilos of meat for herself. And of course, in Soviet Union, in the grocery stores, we didn't have a lot of prepackaged food. So you'll have a display which you could see the big, wheels of cheese and salami and other kalbasa, how you call it, kalbasa. And then you tell a grocery worker that you want 50 grams of this, 100 grams of that, and they will slice it for you, weight it, and then they charge you for it. So of course you need to have the scales all prepared and ready to go, because I can only imagine how they will cheat the scales in the back if nobody's watching them. And also, even like a sour cream would be delivered, we had a special separate store which would be called молоко, which means milk, and it will sell all kind of milk products. So they will bring, for example, sour cream in this big aluminum bidon. I even don't know how to say it on English, but it's a big metal container with two handles. So that would be really easy for a dishonest person to scoop some sour cream out of there, add some water and mix it up really well. You still got sour cream, but it will be a little bit more liquid than it used to be. But the things got way worse after the collapse of Soviet Union and the collapse of the socialist system, when all the grocery stores were state-owned. Everything was state-owned. We had a lot of bazaars and private entrepreneurs coming up, so that people were selling groceries, right, like in open air. You know, you just set up the table, set up bags with all kind of sugar, salt, rolls of cheese, and then you sell it right there on the street. And what happened a lot of times, if you hire a person to sell for you, people didn't want to pay them. It's pretty much, I'll give you this job, you sell my product, but the only way you can get paid is you have to work the scales. There was actually expression, работать на весах, to work the scales, and that which means that you need to alter the scales to whatever level of income you want to have, and this is the only income you have. So if I give you 50 kilos of cheese, you need to sell 55 kilos of cheese, and that money for extra 5 kilos that you cheated is your pay for the day. So many times people would, you know, you have to, if you want to earn money, they have to adjust the scales. So the honest sellers will maybe adjust like 50 grams, maybe 100 grams. So you have a scale shows the kilograms, so you have a 10%, we'll call it a tip. You charge a tip on the top of every kilogram you sell. So instead of a kilogram of cheese, you'll sell 900 grams, and 100 gram is a tip. But some guys who are extremely greedy, they were doing the scale like insanely tricked. And to give you an example, when you buy bananas by kilos, and 1 kilogram, it's approximately 2.2 pounds. And I did a little research. Average, it's about 10 to 12 bananas per kilogram. So 2.2 pounds of bananas is about 10 to 12 bananas. So if you like short little bananas, you get about 12. If you like big bananas, if you know what I mean, you'll get 10 of those. We had cases when a person will weigh 3 bananas and tells you that's a kilogram. So he really desperate for money, so he just, you know, steals close to 70% of the value and sells you 3 bananas for the price of 12. So that would be like really like, oh, don't buy from that guy, he's extremely greedy. His bananas are really heavy. They weight a kilogram, just 3 of bananas. But it also, a lot of customers who didn't like to be cheated, they end up carrying, you know, their own little personal scales with them and a calculator. So you will buy whatever product you buy, meat or fish, and then you scoop it up on your own scales and see how much you got cheated, and then you start arguing with the seller, see if you can get some money back, because the person is way too greedy. Actually, I had experience myself to get on this issue of being forced to work on scales, as I mentioned. My mom lost her job as a technical drawing, kind of like engineer position she had, and after collapse of Soviet Union, that company went under, went belly up. So she ended up working at the open market selling groceries for one of the guys, and his brother, older brother, joined the business, and he was extremely annoyed to find out that we didn't work the scales. We were paid, couple dollars a day. At that time, pay was so tiny, so you were making like $1 or $2 a day to stay in the middle, of the street selling groceries. And he started pushing us like, hey, you guys need to work the scales, I'm not paying you. But we refused, and for a while he agreed to pay us real money, but then we started having troubles, or he started having troubles, or all of us started having troubles, because they give you groceries in the bags, and they check initial weight, and then after you're done, they check the weight again, and then they match the money with the amount of groceries sold, goods sold. And he's like, well, you guys are shy, and he started taking away, deducting from our pay what we were shy. Like, you're supposed to give me, let's say, 5,000 rubles, and you gave me 4,500 rubles, so I need to take out of your pay 500. We never had a problem before, and suddenly we started having that problem. So it was obvious, so he was just doing whatever he can to push us into working the scale so he doesn't have to pay us. But my mom didn't want to do that, and she ended up quitting and not working for that guy anymore. One of the worst cases was to buy frozen fish, because what people would do, they will thaw the fish and then dip it in the water or inject it full of water, then they'll refreeze it again, and that makes the frozen fish twice as heavy as regular fish. It's kind of similar to what a lot of companies do here in America, which is called pumping. It's when they inject pork or chicken with salty water, and it's like up to 18-20% of the meat you end up buying salty water in your chicken, which means you purchase chicken for $5 a pound, or 50, whatever the price per pound, which includes 20% of just water that you pay $5 a pound. And it's apparently quite popular thing here in America to do. It's called, official term in the meat industry is pumping. It's being done at the processing plants, and then they're being shipped that way to the grocery stores. So for example, if you spend $6 on a chicken which was injected with 20% of water, you end up paying close to $1.50 just for the water. And it's a huge business. I did a little research, and apparently around $2 billion a year American consumers spend on water injected in chicken and pork that they buy. So there's scams everywhere, not only in Soviet Union, but even here in the United States. People improve their bottom line by selling you nothing. In case of Whole Foods, just overstating the weight, or just injecting a product with water and selling you water for price of the meat and making extra $2 billion a year. So this is our story about Whole Foods scam and how we've been having similar problems in Soviet Union. I hope you enjoyed the show. Thank you very much. Have a good day. Goodbye.
Видишь, а вы не вмешивайтесь, вас никто не спрашивает. Костя, что вы суетесь? 200 грамм не хватает. Ну что тут козел? Вас не спрашивают из таких, как вы, обвешивают без конца. Не лезьте. Вот, пожалуйста, 200 грамм бросьте на весы и увидите, не хватает.
Папа, что ты служишь?
И
Где
вся
мозги в
очередь
тесте?
подтвердит. Что? У меня?
Я все понял.
Я все понял. Ах ты,
я все
оператор,
понял.
ты чертов, ты вообще
Сейчас разберемся.
жаловаться буду на вас. Обязательно накажите. Я напишу жалобу и Собчаку напишу, и кому надо напишу.
Папа, ну кипит их разум возмущенный, понимаешь? Покажи, Кири.
Да в кармане у него она. Я тут полчаса стояла, глядела, как он химичит.
Ладно, только не
Видела,
надо,
видела.
ладно? Там полчаса,
я
там
разберусь.
ля-ля тополя. Пока, бабуська.
Подними руки. Руки подними. Смотри, ровно 200 грамм.
Вот это да!
Вот на халюге, а. Ну-ка, дыхни. Макар, встань за него. Обслужи всех, кого он обвесил. Дрянь.
Папа, ну что ты ей-богу, честно?